Welcome to the first episode of Brian's Reviews, a channel where we're going to be reviewing cool stuff, mostly tech because that's what I kind of like, and gadgets. But I'll be reviewing a lot of different things that I find interesting across my travels and my journey in life. None of it's going to be sponsored. If it is, I will let you know. So it's going to be pretty unbiased and just my humble opinion of what's happening. So for today, I'm actually very happy and honored to be reviewing the smart chopping board from the Yes company. This product's actually currently being crowdfunded on Kickstarter. I'll post a link below to the Kickstarter campaign. And the producers have very kindly sent me this early prototype to review. Like I said, it's going to be an unbiased review. I will let you know towards the end what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So what is the smart cutting board? The smart cutting board is actually a device that takes the place of multiple devices that you might have in your home kitchen or any kitchen for that matter. So you have your cutting board, which is quite obviously enough, but you also have a weighing machine or a weighing scale, a kitchen timer, as well as a knife sanitizer. That part's actually pretty cool and pretty innovative actually. So how does it work? The weighing scale or the board powers up by just a touch of a button like so. And that tells you it's on, obviously, and it goes straight into the weighing scale mode. Now once the weighing scale powers up, if you wanted to change the unit of measurement, for example, all you have to do is press and hold the middle button on the control panel right here. And that would change that from grams to kilograms. You can also cycle through to pounds and ounces just by similarly just holding on to that button. And every time you press and hold that button, it cycles through the different options. I find it really handy because I actually use a lot of recipe books, and then sometimes some of the recipes I get from the internet, for example, are from America, where, you know, the Americans don't measure things the way the rest of the world do. So that's really handy. I don't actually have to convert a recipe. All I have to do is just weigh it out and just change my unit of measurement here. And it's really handy as well. Now, I'm going to use a tape measure here as an example. Now, if you wanted to tear the weighing scale, all you have to do is just press this button here, and that balances. So that would be handy if you had a bowl and you wanted to weigh things that, you know, would not be contained in this little surface area here, like, I don't know, flour, for example, or any liquids, for example. All you need to just put a bowl, bang, tear it, done. Easy peasy. And that's the weighing scale. Now, if you wanted to use the timer on the smart cutting board, all you have to do is basically go into timer mode by pressing the timer button. As you can see, the rightmost digit is flashing. By pressing this number, it goes up by 1 unit of measurement. So if I switch that to 5, for example, and I can likewise just adjust it as it goes up, minutes and hours. So it goes up to 10 hours. You can set a kitchen timer for up to 10 hours. After you press the clock button one more time on here, or rather once it reaches the end of the row, your kitchen timer starts. As you can see, 2, 1, and that tells you that your kitchen timer has gone. To deactivate the sound, all you have to do is just tap the board and it shuts up. I should also point out that in the kitchen timer mode, once it's actually counting down, you can actually still use the weighing scale to weigh stuff. So while your timer is counting down and you're cooking, whatever, you can still use the weighing scale. That's not a problem. The weighing scale still functions as it normally would. And then when the time runs up, you just tap it and it shuts it up again. Now what else can I tell you about this smart cutting board? The second cutting board it comes with actually gets stored right underneath. You can slide that out, and what's great about this function is it's got really nice high edges. So after you've done cutting the stuff up, you can push everything off. You can take that, which is nice and light, straight into the pan. Or you could just use it as a secondary cutting board where you can store different things. You could cut like your vegetables on it first, for example, and then you go and cut on your raw meat so you don't get any of that cross-contamination, right? It's really up to you to use your imagination. They're both made of natural bamboo. From what I told you, it's the same quality kind of bamboo cutting boards you get at IKEA. I'll get more to the cutting boards afterwards. The board also comes with 2 knife sharpeners found on the edge here and here. So one is a ceramic sharpener while another is a diamond sharpener. I've actually tried a sharpener and it's really easy to use because it's found in such a convenient location. You just slide your knives through a few times. Every hour you're cooking, I don't know how long you'll be cooking for, but if you do, for example, you need to sharpen your knife, boom, you've got a knife sharpener right there built in. Now back to the cutting boards. The cutting boards actually have this really nice grooved recess here to catch any juices or liquids that might come out. I know some chefs don't really care. I personally find it really handy so the juice of my fruits, for example, doesn't leak all over the table, while I'm trying to prepare my food. Now what I want to talk about next is the UV function of this smart cutting board, which is a really cool feature and the main thing that actually attracted me to this actual product. I'll post a couple of links below to articles that were shared by the company but independently written that talks about the efficiency of UV light on killing bacteria on surfaces. All you have to do is basically take your second piece, flip it upside down where there are these two magnetized prongs that works with these two tabs here in conjunction, and here, as you can see, I'll point it to the camera, is where the UV light comes out from. Putting that together there, it forms a shell with a hole or a recess where you can slide your knives, and by pressing this button here, it turns the UV function on. Now, I'll slide it forward to make sure it catches. It needs to actually catch. There we go. As you can see, the UV light actually turning on when it's correctly aligned. I'll go into that a bit afterwards. It's one of the things I've found slightly finicky with this, and I'm sure it's a process that could actually be improved. But if it's not correctly aligned, even though it's magnetized, if it's not correctly aligned, the UV function will not work. The UV function will come on for a fixed amount of time. I can't remember how long. I didn't actually time it. Oh, there we go. What's that? A minute? 2 minutes? And it will automatically shut off. It also disengages once this board completely cuts off, right? So it's only activating when the prongs are actually in place. So that's something you should know. And so to turn the board off, all you have to do is just press and hold. Once that swipes off, you know your cutting board's actually off. The board comes with a USB-C quick charge cable, and 1 hour's worth of charging should give you up to 30 days worth of battery life. I've used this board for a few days and I've not had to recharge it because you don't actually use the board, or you don't turn the power on for the entire period of time when you're actually cooking. It's mostly during the prep. So you get a lot of juice out of 1 hour's worth of charge, so you don't really have to worry about that. What else can I tell you about the board? Yes, the cutting board is designed to be replaceable, or the parts of it are designed to be replaceable. So for example, this is the knife sharpener here. If you ever need to replace the knife sharpener component of it, all you have to do is just unscrew it, order the fresh parts from the company's website, screw it back in, Bob's your uncle, new knife sharpener. Simple as that. And I'm assuming that the cutting board will also be replaceable. The current websites don't actually have the parts, but we've been told by the company that they will be made available. So back here, if you wanted to replace this main cutting board area, all you have to do, I assume, is going to be undo these screws, pop it back in, new cutting board. So some people have asked about the durability of the cutting board. It's a bamboo cutting board, it's not adamantium. If you were to, I don't know, saw really hard when you cut your food, or if you were to spill food coloring and stuff like that, it will stain. It's natural bamboo. What would happen to natural bamboo would happen to these boards. You smash it hard enough, of course it'll break. It's bamboo. Obviously, but you're not going to. I do know that some of the backers have expressed concerns, saying that yes, a drop test is not good enough. Can it withstand if I take a meat cleaver and chop right onto the board? I don't think that's going to be a problem, because as you can see, the way the board is designed, the chopping area, the cutting board area, rests on the edge of this separate unit here. This is two completely separate pieces of wood, so the pressure that gets exerted onto here does not channel onto the electronics of the weighing scale and the control panel, etc., and the foot of or rather the supporting foot of the other cutting board is on this edge as well. So would it be able to withstand big burly chef chopping stuff onto it? I was thinking of Swedish chef on the Muppet Show then. Meatballs, chicken. But will it be able to withstand a chopper going right on? Yes, I think so. I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. So that is essentially the smart chopping board from the Yes company. It's basically a chopping board with two chopping surfaces or two chopping boards. You have your weighing scale, you have your kitchen timer, and your knife desanitizer with the UV lights. And your knife sharpener as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 devices built into one. And that's essentially what the smart chopping board is. Now I want to talk about a couple of things that I like about the smart chopping board, and a couple of things that I don't really like. None of them are really deal breakers. Do I still love this board? Yes, and I'll tell you why. The fact is that I love my gadgets and I love spending time in the kitchen experimenting with cooking, and I spend a lot of time prepping. And I think this is great because I don't have to keep whipping out my weighing scale every time I want to measure stuff, and I follow a couple of recipes to begin with. So weighing scale I actually do use a lot. And I make a lot of pizza as well from scratch. So weighing the pizza dough, I could just chop it up here and then weigh it and then readjust, chop it, flour this, do it again, weighing scales right there. I love that. Personally, that's what I think I'm going to use the most for, in all honesty. I make good pizza. What else do I like about the cutting board? The fact is that the parts are replaceable. That is a huge bonus. One of my worries was, what are we going to do with the knife sharpener once the knife sharpener gets dull? Buy a new knife sharpener part and pop it right back in. Easy. I don't see it being going to be too expensive, to be honest, because it's a very small component, but I don't know because the prices aren't actually up yet. I don't actually even know exactly what things will be replaceable. I'm assuming the two bolts will be replaceable. I'm assuming the sharpeners are going to be replaceable. I'm not so sure about the electronic components. I don't know quite yet. That's not what I'm reviewing. But I was told that the major components will be replaceable. But now let's talk about a couple of things that I'm not such a huge fan of. I'll just turn it back on just to show you. The weighing scale, for example, like I said earlier, you could tear the weighing scale by holding or by tapping the middle button, right? So if this was a bowl, you could tear the weighing scale, bang, resets to 0. However, if you were to remove the object at the present time, it doesn't actually go into negative. So you don't actually know that it's not set at 0. So you to take something lighter, for example, it doesn't change, see? So this actually threw me off a little bit, and then I realized it's because I teared it previously and I had to actually put something back on, and any other weight that goes on would then be reflected. So that's one small thing that I personally believe will be easily fixed in before it hits the main production line. There are a couple of things else, only 2 more things, and once again none of them are deal breakers. One is a knife sharpener. So we have a ceramic knife sharpener, we have a diamond knife sharpener. Right now it doesn't actually tell you which is which. I am guessing this is the ceramic knife sharpener and this is the diamond knife sharpener, only from other online content that I've found. I don't actually quite know. I don't think it's going to be that difficult when they do make the final production, is to make another engraving or another laser etching, maybe just even on the top here. That might be easier, I'm not sure, but it's something that's a small little thing that made me go, what the heck's going on right there? So another thing as well is the UV function of the cutting board. I'll show you. I'll turn the UV on, and as you can see from the camera again, I'll put it right back up. It's on right now, but the slightest misalignment and it goes off. The board is still magnetized, by the way. It's still being magnetized right there, but it's not actually in perfect alignment. It needs to be in perfect alignment for the thing to come on. Well, I'll find it again, but as you can see, it doesn't take a lot for it to go off. The other thing that you need to bear in mind is that when you are to use the knife sanitizer function, putting a knife in, for example, causes the blade to sit in at an angle. So if this is the blade as it goes in, alright, I'll do it this way. If the blade goes in, imagine if this was flat. If this was to go in, and the weight of the blade would naturally cause it to tilt down slightly until it hits the bottom, like this. which means when the blade is flat, it's going to be blocking off the UV light that comes from the diode, and it's not going to be hitting the bottom of the blade. So if you were to want to sanitize both sides of the blade, what you would have to do is basically take the blade out, flip it upside down, pop it right back in, so that when the weight takes it back down again, the light's actually going to be hitting the other surface of the knife. But what that means, however, which is the saving grace of the device, is that without the knife, the UV rays are going to be hitting the entire surface inside of the cutting board. I assume. What I would have liked to do is to have tested how far reaching the rays are, how deep the UV light actually travels down, as well as how wide the UV travels out to the side. Because while you could fit 3 knives into this surface area, it's hard to tell exactly how much of those knives, how much surface area of those knives are actually being exposed, I guess, to the UV light rays. So that's just another point of concern. I don't know. But like I said, the great thing about it is, if you were to flip it upside down without the knives, what's actually going to happen is that the work surface itself is going to be exposed to the UV light, and that would sanitize it of the bacteria. Which in my opinion is more important than having knives that are clean, because it's so much easier to clean a knife. You go to the sink, boom, 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 done. Dry it off, you've got a clean knife. While in my opinion, the cutting board with the nicks and the scratches has a higher chance of actually of holding on to the bacteria, because it's going to be harder to scrub that surface off. So that's what I personally really like about this device. I'm going to be using the UV lights to actually sanitize the board more than I will be using for the knives, to be honest. But you know what? If you were to go out camping and stuff like that, that's a great way to make sure your knives are clean as well if you're an outdoorsy person. Your cutting board is also completely waterproof, so you can run it under a tap to scrub it off. You don't have to worry about the electronic components, because it is waterproof. You cannot, however, run it inside the dishwasher. And I'm actually not sure about the bottom cutting board, if you could run it in the dishwasher as well, because it does have electronics as well. So I don't think you can. I should get more, I'll need to look into that. I haven't actually got that confirmed yet. But I don't think you should be running any part of this through the dishwasher, just to be safe, because of the heat, right? Because of the electric components, common sense. So that's it. That is my review of the smart chopping board from the Yes company. I think it's a great little product. Would I recommend it to my friends? Yes, I would. The other thing you need to consider before you're getting this cutting board is you have to remember that this is a slightly bigger unit than your conventional cutting board. Most of my cutting boards are a third of this device in terms of thickness. So this device stands at, let's see, 1.5 inches tall and about almost 4 centimeters tall for those that measure in centimeters. That's quite a little bit. I'm used to measuring the cutting boards that are like this thick. I would have a few stacked up against a wall and they stay out of the way. Also, while this unit measures 19 inches or 48 centimeters wide, the cutting surface is essentially only 14 inches or 35 centimeters wide. So basically this actual extra component here that you were to use for the electronics and the weighing scale, that's not really cutting surface. So that's just one other small factor you need to consider. Is it something that's worth the trade-off for the convenience of this? My opinion is yes. All you have to do is just find somewhere new or change your storage arrangements for your cutting board. That's about it in my opinion. Will I be using it? 100% yes. Is it perfect? No, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's a really good step in the right direction, and I'm thinking a lot of the problems will be easily fixed before it even gets into the main production line. So that's it for this episode of Brian's Reviews. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm very happy and very proud to have this product as the first product I've actually reviewed. If you think you got a little bit out of it, or if you want to see more of what I had to say in terms of reviewing cool gadgets and tech in the future, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you might want me to review. Are there any cool things coming out that you think you might want me to review it? Please let me know, and I will do my best to get back to you. In the meantime, check out the link to this product. I believe there's still a little bit of time if you want to crowd back it on Kickstarter. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.